Well, hello everybody. Marie Graceberg here, host of the Teach and Profit Summit, and here with me is Jennie Friedman, and we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic. I won't give out yet now. I will let Jennie do that. But first up, welcome to the stage, Jennie.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, I'm excited too, and I'm sure our listeners too. So why don't we get started with you sharing your story? How did you get started, and what led you to doing what you're doing today?
Okay, well, I am an ADHD coach. ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And I think it's a horrible name, but that's what they call it now. So we'll just roll with that. But I was not always this. And in fact, most recently was this. This is a second career for me. I actually started life being one of those kids that didn't apply themselves. And so, I went through a lot of years having no motivation, no direction, really not knowing what you want to do really doesn't help you get very far. And so, I did start school. I come from a family where there's a lot of sort of mental issues, I suppose you could say, dysfunctional sort of family, loving family, love them dearly. But there was, my dad was diagnosed with bipolar and with, I know now he had ADHD. Back then we didn't know. And he ended up going off his medications and committing suicide back when I was 20. So I think I spent my whole early life running away from problems at home and not that they were problems for me, but really I thought everybody was just chaotic and crazy. So I ran off to California and started in retail. And I finished fashion merchandising in college. I went to a business college, and the best advice my mother ever gave me was make sure all those college credits transfer to an accredited college so that you can, in case you ever want to do something else. Well, okay. And I did. But when I went to LA and I started fashion, I also did business, sort of like a cold calling business, door-to-door business. That was crazy. A great experience when you're 20, but not a way to live, right? And so, fast forward, I'm in New York and I'm working in department stores, and I moved my way up into buying, and I was a buyer for over a decade with, really fun, exciting, fast-paced, fast-moving industry, and all about fashion and clothing, and it was all about how you look. And I got really savvy with making deals with people so I could get the best bargains and for my customers. And then I ended up opening my own store. And then it was 2007, and it was the recession hit, and it was horrible. And I decided this is probably a really good time to get out of retail. I was also in my 40s, and I said, I guess I'm going to have to do something else because the whole world changed on how they spend money. And so I did. I went back to school, and I finished all my credits from fashion merchandising, transferred into marketing credits, and I got my bachelor's of science in psychology. And I thought that would be a good non-physical way to spend the rest of my life doing a career that was more meaningful, because retail also, I had been pretty burned out. It's very shallow. It doesn't mean, it's close. I remember we used to always say, this isn't rocket science or life-saving stuff. This is clothes, who cares? This is shoes. I sold shoes a lot. And I was like, this is just fun. This is not important. So psychology to me would be important. And then at the very same time was when my mother was very sick. And so we knew she wasn't going to, live much longer. And I went to go stay with my sister, who, now I'd spent 20 plus years away from home, and I go, my sister, now she's got what I would call severe ADHD. She's very hyperactive, and just, I never knew what it was though. I just thought she was just very energetic, and, I used to say she was crazy. I did. I was the mean big sister. And, so with the thought that my mom was going to not be in my life anymore, I'm like, I need to figure out a way to be with my sister, or I'm not going to have any family. So we got into this big conversation, a big kumbaya moment. I said, I'm really sorry for how I've been like all these years. And I want to tell you, Marie, it was probably like 5 minutes, not even, had passed. And she said something that triggered the old, the way we used to always be. And I looked at her, I said, did we not just go through this? I just said I was sorry, what? And she said, oh, I'm sorry. That's probably my ADHD. And I was like, I know I had heard of it, but I did not know what it was. And she said, oh, it's the way I process information. I thought, oh, I learned about that in psychology. Okay. So fast forward 2 years later, my mom does pass away. And I go and spend 2 weeks with my sister, and I'm talking glued to the hip. And I got to see ADHD in action.
Wow.
Like in action in a way I never really noticed before when I was little, growing up with, the family. So, and I thought, wow, this is it's amazing. I don't get it though, right? And I go home, and now it's time. I'm finished with school. It's time to go and create my new career in psychology. And I know in New York, you have to have your PhD in order to be a psychologist. And I was like, I'll be in my 50s before I even start working, right? I can't wait. So I go online and I look up coaching. I had heard of coaching. Let me see what this is about. First thing came up, ADHD coaching. I went, I just got goosebumps. I felt like it was just a calling. I was like, so I checked it out, and there was a program through this school called ADCA, ADD Coach Academy. And I went through 16 months of like coach training and got certified. And so it was like, I now know so much more than my sister. She's like, just having it doesn't make you interested in knowing about it, right? Mm-hmm. She's like, she could care less about it. But me, I get real turned on by the neuroscience. I'm like, oh, this is so exciting. And I've got meaning in my life now. Like I didn't have that with fashion. So I got started, I guess it was sort of like there was an impetus because of my family situation, but also the way my career shifted. And so that's how I got here. That's how I'm doing what I'm doing. But I love it because it really does capitalize on my business background. Like I didn't waste 20 plus years in business that I'm not using now. I use all the things I learned with my clients all the time.